Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
3 or 4.
Hello and welcome, race fans, to Daytona International Speedway with the ITSR Twisted Cup Series live here on Tuesday night. And, of course, MW Productions bringing you the race tonight at Daytona. Once again, Evan, welcome aboard. I'm Michael, keeping up in the booth. And tonight, down on pit road, for somewhat purposes of the camera angles tonight in this production studio, is Maniac himself, MW Michael Woolley. Evan, we're at Daytona International Speedway tonight, the 2.5-mile racetrack down in Florida.
Yeah, definitely under the lights tonight, and also interesting enough to note that as qualifying goes on, it is closed qualifying, so we have seen a little bit of open qualifying in the past where the drivers go out and pack together, but it is solo two-lap runs rather, to set the grid for tonight's race. So no open qualifying, but 10-minute session, 2 laps fastest, so an old-style qualifying session. But yeah, 74 laps under the lights at Daytona, and on one of the tracks on the circuit that all the drivers circle, because anybody has a chance to take away with a win here.
And, of course, fireworks tonight for the winner. And, of course, it is the Happy Late Birthday America presented by Hippie's Paint Shop and Quick Car, as always, here on MW Productions live Tuesday night, Daytona International Speedway. Going to last week real quick, the results at Kentucky. Mr. Terrell, Bobby Terrell, would win that race after just leading 4 laps. Evan, Matt Lacrosse would finish second, Jose Gonzalez third. Brian Harvey was the only driver in the top 5 not to lead 1 lap. He finished 4th, and CJ Lavere rounded out 5th.
Yeah, we also had Ryan Vaughn coming home with a 6th place finish, 7th belonging to Ben Burdett. Stephen Herring was the last car to finish on the lead lap in position number 8. LD Sarabia 1 lap down in 9th, and rounding out the top 10. John Wilco had a rough night. He finishes 9 laps down, rounding out the top 10. And
the last 3 drivers that took the track at Kentucky Speedway was Justin Wilson 11th, Rich Jett 12th, Douglas Wyatt 13th. So 13 drivers last week, but a nearly double amount here tonight at Daytona, as there are 21 currently taking time in practice. And Evan, as qualifying is underway, we're going to bring the point standings when we return after the promotional video and, of course, the national anthem here tonight, celebrating Happy July 4th celebrations at Daytona.
New shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. Come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Watch, diamond ring. Well, I ain't missing on a single thing. Conflicts, stick pin. Ask about I'm gonna do you in. They come running just as fast as they can.
Hey, look here, beavers. You better hide your wives, hide your husband, and look here, both of you hide your kids, cause we're coming.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Looking sharp, looking for love. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about a sharp dress hand. Make some noise! Clean shirt, new shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about it.
Back live here where qualifying has just finished at Daytona International Speedway. And the man out front, quickest just by a little bit, is the number 66 machine of Brian Harvey to his outside tonight, starting in the 58 car, Justin Wilson.
Bobby Terrell's going to be starting third with an identical time to Justin Wilson, who starts second. So Terrell also with a 46.706 rolls off third. And the Ford of C.J. Laver is going to occupy position number 4.
Fifth tonight, into the lights, is 26 machine of Jose Gonzalez. And the number 6 fastest in qualifying, the 18 of Mark Bratcher.
Row number 4 inside lane belongs to the 68 of Scott Simley. He starts in position number 7. Matt Lacrosse going to roll off 8 in his number 21 machine.
36 car Rich Jet occupying 9th tonight. Jay Randall Watkins and his Deuce will start 10th.
Inside on row 6, position 11 belongs to the 28 of Brian Vaughn. Alongside him, the 11 of ITSR Daytona starting 12.
Starting 13th tonight, the 14 machine of Josh Cheney to his outside right tonight. At Daytona, the 19 machine of Edison Lima Jr.
Frank Coons in the 48 machine occupies position number 15, and the 5 of Hippie Doug Douglas Wyatt rolls off in 16.
Ben Burnett in the always 37 machine rolls off 17th. His outside tonight will be the 62 car of John Wilco.
Stephen Herring's going to be starting 20th position in his number 98 machine, and Joey English in the number 12 starting 21st rounds out your 20-car field.
So 20 drivers set to take the field tonight, and coming into tonight's race, it is a pretty decent points battle. Jose Gonzalez is leading the Twisted Cup Tuesday series right now in Season 2, up 27 points on Rich Jet. Now here's a close battle for second, where LD Sarabia sits third with just 2 points back, 29 back from Jose Gonzalez. John Wilco sits in fourth, and CJ LeVere just edging out Brian Harvey for that 5th spot in points.
Yeah, LeVere sits 43 back, 44 points back from the top of the pile is Brian Harvey, 6th in the championship standings, 2 points behind him. 7th spot is Stephen Herring, who's 46 points at the top. 54 back in 8th is Scott Simley. Stefan Marinak sits 56 points out in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, the only driver in the top 10 in points to have a win besides Jose Gonzalez is Bobby Carroll, sitting on 1 win. He's 57 points back in position number 10.
And just cracked outside the top 10 right now is that Hippie's Paint Shop. Douglas Wyatt, one of tonight's sponsors, Hippie's Paint Shop, is just 1 point back from Bobby Terrell. So close to 10th spot there for him. So 11 drivers here tonight so far. Pretty tight. As you can say, 11 through 2 is pretty tight in the points. And Jose Gonzalez could practically take tonight off and still maintain the points lead going in next week, where we'll have the Fisher Cats Baseball 130 at Loudon, New Hampshire. But for now, it's Daytona International Speedway, 74 laps. And these guys are coming off into turn 3 here tonight under the lights. Shiny looking cars. You got the black machine up there, the Chevy of Brian Harvey, and the lime green fighting machine of Justin Wilson, the 58 car to the outside. Behind them is the 2 red machines, one being the Bobby Terrell and one being of CJ LeVere with the purple Barney hood. So here we go, off turn 4, 2.5 mile racetrack, 65 degrees in the air tonight, with an 8 mile an hour wind chill blowing from the east. As the pace car gets set, Evan to take that heroic left-hand turn down pit road, as now Brian Harvey leads this field of 20 to the green here at Daytona International Speedway.
And the top 2 single file it very quickly. Justin Wilson in the 58 pulls down behind Brian Harvey. The battle side by side is going to be for number 3 position. Bobby Terrell on the inside lane after starting in 3rd on the inside of row 2. Battle side by side with the 4 of CJ LeVere. Those 2 guys remain door to door throughout the quarter. Looks like Terrell with the small advantage. He's not going to clear LeVere. However, LeVere has help with the 18 of Mark Bradger, and now we double up as front as the 58 of Justin Wilson wants to go to the high side, and it's a drag race down to back straightaway.
And there you see that tandem up top where CJ LeVere has now separated from the 58 car, but just enough to push him out front. There's now Bobby Terrell separates about half of a car length behind Brian Harvey off the turn 4 here to lead the first lap tonight. Could be the 58 car of Justin Wilson, and it will be as CJ LeVere claims second. The black Dahlia of Brian Harvey will fall back to 3rd, and they will single file themselves out into turn 1 there, as Bobby Terrell will fall all the way back to 4th here, as now the 18 mounting a charge to the outside with no help.
Yeah, Bradcher was up on the back and CJ LeVere up high, but LeVere hooked up with Justin Wilson, and now the 18 of Mark Bradcher going the wrong direction. Now the 21 thinks about pulling out a line. That's Matt Lacrosse riding 5th in line on that bottom inside lane. Thought about it, went back down, and the 18 of Mark Bradcher is going all the way outside of the top 10 before he's going to get an opportunity to pull back down to the inside lane. He does so at a corner number 4, and this time by to complete lap number 2. Top 10 single file on the bottom.
And as you would imagine, Evan, the top 10 single file and the rest of the field single file, the back 10, if you will, 20 drivers taking the green flag tonight. Actually 19. took the green flag tonight. Not sure exactly. Joey English did not start. I was trying to, yeah, Joey English would have made 20, Evan, but now field of 19 sets off back off into turn 3, where now we've got some side-by-side racing, and that's the 21 car up top to the gold rim 26 machine of Jose Gonzalez. To the bottom now, Rich Jett sticks his 36 machine in the mix, and Scott Simley will find the back bumper of Matt Lacrosse as they go across the strap to complete lap 3. Top 10 running side by side.
Yeah, that 21 stepped out to the outside lane. Matt Lacrosse thought about it earlier when it was Mark Bratcher out there, and now he saw that 68 make move to the outside lane. 68 assembly stepped out there. 21 went out to join him, so they're going to have to get hooked up on the outside lane, and they will be able to make a power move around this field. The inside lane is single file, and they're not all pushing. They're all giving each other a little bit of room as a checkup happens around position number 7 on that inside line, but they're not pushing. They're giving each other some air. They're just kind of riding around. So you see that 68 machine of Scott Simley get up to the back bumper, the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. You can easily see these guys rocket by the field on the high side and possibly take those cars up to the top spots.
And here they come, the 4-car tandem to the outside at Daytona, mounting that charge. Evan, look at them go through turn 1 here. The 21 car of Matt Lacrosse has caught up to the side of the 66 of Ryan Harvey. As Justin Wilson continues to lead this race, Scott Simley will find his way back behind Matt Lacrosse going into turn 3 here, as he'll let the car kind of breathe a little bit. And now the 11 machine of LD Sarabia has climbed up into the number 10 spot as he works the top side of Daytona, where Justin Wilson continues to track the lead down 5 laps in. 69 laps to go if you're counting.
And it has turned into a 2-lane race. Get everybody with single file throughout the whole field there after about 2-3 laps. And since those guys, the 21 to 68, went up to the high side, a whole bunch of other cars have joined them, and it has created a 2-lane race. Only issue is the inside has about 3 spots advantage over the outside lane. 21 of Matt Lacrosse leading the outside charge, was just door-to-door with Bobby Terrell for 4th, and now here they come down the back and down into turn number 3, and now he's nearly nose-to-nose with race leader Justin Wilson, because that 68 of Scott Simley was able to get hooked up on the left rear of the 21 machine, pushed him down the back straightaway. They got separated in 3 and 4. They lost some time. They'll try to get back hooked up here by the stripe, but that 21 of Matt Lacrosse has been able to mount the charge. He was 3rd at the stripe.
He was looking for the lead but couldn't quite find it, as now he'll fall back to maybe 5th spot here, and he will as Bobby Terrell sneaks up underneath him. But Scott Simley, you got to wonder, the lights may be blinking as the 18 car of Mark Bratcher pushes the issue, bumps Simley. Simley now into the back rear of Matt Lacrosse as they go back down the back stretch, gaining momentum into turn 3 here. Matt Lacrosse going to try to sneak some side draft off of Terrell, and he may find just a little bit, Evan, but not enough, as the side draft here at Daytona just isn't quite what it used to be. Ryan Vaughn is in 8th spot, by the way, folks. He is back there side by side with the 11 car, as there's 5 now in the deuce of J. Randall Watkins. Makes 5 cars to the top side and 6 to the bottom.
And again, that 21 machine on the outside lane, Matt Lacrosse, the first car in lineup there, he just can't keep it going. At a big checkup at a turn number 2, a bunch of guys abandoned that outside lane, go down to the inside. The 28 of Ryan Vaughn gets back down low, as well as the 2 of J. Randall Watkins. Now here goes the 26. Jose Gonzalez steps out of spot in number 7 and goes to the outside lane. He was just riding on the inside behind the 7 of Bobby Terrell. He has pulled out. That's going to allow the 21 of Matt Lacrosse to get a draft off of him. Going to take about half a lap or so before that 21 can get up there. But if they can get hooked up, the 21's been in fresh air. He hasn't had that nose tucked up under anybody because he's been receiving the push from the 68 machine of Scott Simley behind him. So if Matt Lacrosse can hook up here with Jose Gonzalez coming off this turn and down the back straightaway, they may be able to make up some ground. But that 21 machine doesn't look like he's got a lot of speed going on that outside lane.
Yeah, the 21 car just desperately needs someone else to push him, and now he'll have the opportunity to push someone himself for the first time tonight. The 21 quick car Chevy will get back behind the 26 car of Jose Gonzalez, the man who leads the points, as now Matt Lacrosse has lit up a little bit. Seems like you don't want to leave Fearless Racing teammate Scott Simley behind in his Ford. So Jose Gonzalez will work the top side at Daytona by himself. Picked up one from LD Sarabia. Now he looks to the high side of the 7 car of Bobby Terrell off into turn 1 here. Jose Gonzalez claims the 4th spot just temporarily as now Bobby Terrell in the Muscle Milk Chevy pulls back underneath. Still single file for the top 3. Justin Wilson leading right now.
And I'll tell you, 205 miles an hour for the 21 of Matt Lacrosse down into turn number 3. So he got a heck of a shove from the 68 of Scott Simley behind him. Now the 21 has decided to opt and go on the back bumper of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. And you see how quickly that works. Jose's already up sort of over the 4 machine of CJ Levere for a second. If the 21 can give him that push here out of 4, they're going to give him a shot at it at the start-finish line. Jose's going to get up the second, and they are there knocking on the door as the 58 of Justin Wilson continues to lead. And now Jose, with help from Matt Lacrosse, is going to make it door-to-door for the number 1 spot through 1 and 2.
Off into 1 and 2. Look at that, Evan. The top 10 are all side by side now. 3 wide for the first time tonight. 14 car, Josh Cheney and Ben Burnett coming out of nowhere. They split the eagle between the buns of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and now they're still 3 wide into turn 3 with Jose Gonzalez, the meatball between the spaghetti.
Jose's trying to hang on, and that 14 and 37 are starting to struggle there. Now the opening on the inside lane. Jose's going to jump down to the inside, and now that returns this to 2 wide action. Oh, the 37 is loose, and Ben Burnett's going to spin it out in front of the pack. He makes contact, and around in front of the field, a couple cars spin. Caution flag and a fly, as that got ugly quick, as we saw the 37 of Ben Burnett said he was struggling to try to push there with the 14 machine, and the 37 got sideways, got collected by the 28 machine, got a little bit damage, and it was the 2 car slowing down to avoid Ben Burnett, who got run over by the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. Looks like the 36 is going to pick up some damage. That is Rich Jett nonetheless. First caution flag and a fall for the evening, and at least 3-4 cars going to pick up some fair amount of damage from that one.
Yeah, in fact, the 37 car Ben Burnett will pick up some damage. Not real sure about the 11 car of LD Sarabia. He did hit Ben Burnett as well. The 28 Ryan Vaughn involved, the Deuce Machine car of Jay Randall Watkins, of course, the 21 of Matt Lacrosse and Rich Jett as well, and the 19 car of Edison Lemon Jr. with some front end damage there as well. So we're working our first caution here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, claiming 5 cars early, very early. Ben Burnett looks to be done tonight. His car is way out of shape. The 21 car also heavy dark smoke pouring beneath the machine of his car. He'll be done. And now that will leave about somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 drivers, possibly 15 on the lead lap, as they'll take their possible pit stop approach here tonight. But we'll find out when we return. We'll take our first commercial break. You're watching MW Productions live coverage of the ITSR Twisted Cup Series live here on Tuesday night. And we're back live here, still pacing under the lap, pace car laps here. And let's see, 16 drivers currently on the lead lap. Ben Burnett being one off the pace. Matt Lacrosse has exited the vehicle and climbed out. His day is done here tonight. Rich Jett, another driver, climbing out of the vehicle. So 2 out of 3 of the drivers that are at least 1 lap down are done for tonight. And of those, LD Sarabia, J. Randall Watkins, it'll be interesting to see if these guys were able to fix their damage. Of course, Randall's still down on pit road, so is Ryan Vaughn and Ben Burnett. So 3 drivers still close to going a lap down here as the pace car enters turn 3 with some drivers conserving a little bit of fuel here, Evan.
Yeah, and everybody came down to make some pit stops there under the caution flag while we were on the commercial break, and it was pretty much a general consensus that when they all came down again, Justin Wilson let him down. He was able to lead him back off, but we saw a couple of left side tires only, a couple of right sides only, but nobody really taking 4, so mainly just 2 tire stops. A little bit of variation on which side of the race car they put them on, but nonetheless 2 tires, gas, and go for the rest of these guys. Again, we're going to be going green with inside of 60 laps to go in this thing. So you mentioned they're getting down on that apron, trying to save some fuel, maybe trying to stretch this thing until the checkered flag there.
Absolutely, and of course, the checkered flag will be waving shortly. It's 15 laps now complete out of this 74 lap race. That puts us with 59 laps to go, as the drivers have just been given the 1 to go signal. The lights are off the pace car, and we will go back green. Of course, double file restarts here at Daytona, and still 16 drivers on the lead lap. Ben Burnett is now fallen 2 laps down, so unable to fix the damage before the pace car went back around. He is now 2 laps down, and sometimes, Evan, it's just about nearly impossible to come back, obviously with damage, of course, but even going 2 laps down at Daytona, you'd have to have some pretty good luck.
Yeah, there's some other guys that are still down there getting some damage repairs as well. You got J. Randall Watkins. He has scored on the lead lap, but he has some pretty substantial front-end damage and a little bit of rear-end damage, too. He now leaves his pit stall. That's what he's been doing under the yellow flag, is he would wait till that field starts to round 3 and 4. He'd leave pit road, come back around, and re-enter pit road, and constantly do that, so he would remain on the lead lap. So that's his strategy going. I know that Rich Jett is no longer on the racetrack. Matt Lacrosse no longer on the racetrack. So remember, it is the only car that is not on the lead lap that is still driving. He has received an EOL penalty, so if there were to be a caution that would fly, he is really the only contender for that wave around of the Lucky Dog as it stands right now. So still a shot at it, but I mean the 37 is still torn up, so even if he was able to get back to the lead lap, not sure what Ben Burnett would be able to do, but if he continues to ride around out there, who knows, he might be able to pick up a couple spots here, as a couple of these guys might wreck out from some future cautions, because, I mean, when you're a lap down and you got in a wreck, that's one of your best bets to stay in it. So field's rounded off, 4 lights on a pace car, getting ready to go back green.
And Justin Wilson, who has led the most laps so far tonight, will take us to the green in that lime green Chevy. As it's a slow green, but everyone gets up to pace, and we're green flag racing at Daytona. And let's go ahead and put Michael Woolley on the bubble. Test him as we crank it up here live for the first time tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Crank that volume up. It's go time. Crank it up, brought to you by Hippie's Paint Shop and Quick Car. As the field exits off at turn number 2, Down the backstretch, C.J. LeVere being shown in the 7th spot. He had a little bit of issue with Brian Harvey. 66 machine is now, he'll come back down in front of him and go single file. The only side-by-side action is back here in 8th, and it has dispensed now. And Scott Simley back in line. Looking back here in the, let's see, the 17th and 15th position, Ben Burnett has found his way 3 laps down now. Just a tough position to be in right now.
And again, the whole field has single file out. Don't expect it to last long like we saw last time. First car going to step out of the line is the 4 of C.J. LeVere, who was running in 7th. He was hoping that somebody else would step out in front of him, that he could get the draft off, and swing and a miss on that call. So C.J. LeVere going to slide back and will look to try to get in line behind the 68 of Scott Simley. I know that Simley is being drafted by the 48 of Frank Coons, and Frank Coons is going to go around C.J. LeVere as well, along with LD Sarabia. So LeVere's gamble is not going to go good for him. He's going to drop from 7th to 11th after trying to make that move in the outside lane. Everybody else remains single file this time by the start-finish line as Justin Wilson leads it. He's trailed by the 14 of Josh Cheney.
And Josh Cheney, one that made that 3-wide move, if you remember, with Ben Burnett. As now Ben's out. The 2-car way off pace here. J. Randall Watkins, the engine has come to an end. The 2 machine of J. Randall Watkins slow on pit road as the caution is not out. Still green flag racing, but another driver biting the Daytona dust here tonight. 15 now on the lead lap, all the way back to the 28 car of Ryan Vaughn, who's 4 seconds back from the leader, off pace, trying to find the draft of John Wilco. As they're back there, still single file, Justin Wilson leading the charge with Josh Cheney in the 14, right behind him. The 18 of Mark Bratcher runs 3rd. Bobby Terrell 4th. The 26 Jose Gonzalez is 5th.
C.J. LeVere is nearly losing that lead draft. He has the 48 of Frank Coons behind him to try to help out, but he's lost contact with the last car that's immediately in line, the 11 machine of LD Sarabia, by about 2/10, and he starts to close that back in down the back straightaway. But if that 48 of Frank Coons wasn't there to help him out on the front stretch, LeVere could have nearly lost this lead draft. The lead draft consists of the first 10 cars of the racetrack. Scott Simley finds himself 1.5 seconds back, and then Edison Lima Jr. and Stephen Herring, 12th and 13th, are about 3 seconds back. And then John Wilco, Ryan Vaughn, 5 seconds back. They're drafting with the beaten and battered Ben Burnett machine, who sits 17th, 2 laps down. So a couple of guys away from this lead pack, maybe a little bit of strategy they might have got left on that race start, but we're going side by side up at the front of the field. The 18 of Mark Bratcher, the first one to make a move, and his number 18 Toyota pulls that line from 3rd spot en route to the outside lane and is trying to use that side draft down the back straightaway. Don't want to get too close and risk a little bit of net code and possibly putting yourself in the fence. So he yields high up through 3 and 4. That allows the 14 of Josh Cheney to get back down to the bumper. The 58 of Justin Wilson and the 18 of Bratcher is able to just slide back in line like it was nothing. So he gave a shot at it, and thankfully there was a hole there that he was able to pull back in line and did not pull a C.J. LeVere and get chucked back on that outside lane. C.J. back with this lead group, and he's actually trying to make a charge up on the outside with the help of the 48 of Frank Coons, who just gets sucked into the wall in 1.
Yeah, Frank Coons did get a piece of that wall there in turn 1. And talking about Mark Bratcher, you mentioned trying to motor house it on the top side at Daytona by himself, running that Toyota Camry. The only other manufacturer currently right now in the top 6 is that Toyota of Mark Bratcher. The next spot in line, you'd have to go back to 7th where Douglas Wyatt runs in his 5 car, and he's struggling to hang on to that spot. Is now LD Sarabia, and the white rim Cal Yarbrough look-alike color goes up underneath him. Now C.J. LeVere will go underneath Hippie's Paint Shop Doug's Wyatt 5 machine.
And one car having a little bit of electrical issues is that 5 of Douglas Wyatt. Saw a little bit of blinking there as he entered turn number 3, and it appears to have settled down. I know I didn't notice that last time. That was actually through 1 and 2. Now they had down the back straightaway. Didn't notice that before, and then again just 2 more blinks there from the 5 of Douglas Wyatt. So a little bit of connection problems for him. He is on the outside lane as they continue to ride around. Everybody else on the lead lap is single file for the time being. But again, last time we said that in the opening laps of the race, it very quickly turned into a 2-lane race with 2 rows all the way back throughout all of our lead lap cars. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But you're kind of at the point in the race right now where the 58 of Justin Wilson, race leader, just took lap number 25, where you're in the middle portion of this thing. You just want to ride it out. You just want to log some laps. Again, a 58 of Justin Wilson could possibly be thinking about leading the most laps, picking up a bonus point for that, but that's not normally one of your biggest concerns at Daytona, considering how many lead changes you tend to see at this racetrack. But I mean, closing in, again, 74 laps is tonight's affair, so that time by the start-finish line, it was 50 laps to go in this thing. So a little bit of logging laps here. LD Sarabia is going to be the first car that tries to go to the outside, but that 5 is blinking on the back bumper, and that could cause some serious issues if they get hooked together. Douglas Wyatt trying to push Sarabia over, again, that 5 machine, trying to get some better connection to the server as he continues to blink in and out on the racetrack, and that's going to leave that 11 car stranded.
Yeah, that's you got to watch that. I think the best bet right now for Douglas Wyatt and the 11 car currently is just to kind of sit there and ride in the draft and maybe not push the issue up top there that you see. Because just one slight mistake and having that electrical issue, it could cause an issue and it cause a wreck. So it looks like the 5 car Douglas Wyatt may have his electrical problems fixed now. Who knows? But we'll continue to monitor that as these guys now are on the outside here, trying to get around your pole sitter, Brian Harvey, who has found himself shuffled back early on out of the top 5 here at Daytona, as now LD Sarabia gets a little bit of a friend popping up there. And turn 2 is the 26 car of Jose Gonzalez, who takes the tread off of the 18 car, Mark Bratcher.
Oh, he turns the 18. Mark Bratcher in front of the field into the 66 of Brian Harvey. And
no
the 18
caution.
is going to go, and he keeps it off the wall. That wreck happens down the back straightaway on the apron. No caution. We stay green. That could have been a lot bigger than it was as the 18 goes for a spin as he moves up into the 26 of Jose, who was trying to do that side draft. Jose is going to walk away unscathed. The 18 and the 66, however, go spinning down the back straightaway, are going to lose touch with that lead pack and probably going to have some aero damage.
Tough break there for those 2 drivers, especially Mark Bratcher, who is now way off pace. And Mark may be pitting here, and looks like he is. So Mark Bratcher, 15th spot after the incident. No caution, and it has kind of separated this field a little bit as now the top 2 switch to tandems, and now Josh Chaney will lead your Daytona International Speedway race here tonight for the first time. Josh Chaney, in the first to go 3 wide, will take the lead.
Yeah, that 14's going to get up to the point position, and now it is the 58 machine in tow. So Justin Wilson now finds himself second, and is Joey Giacchino Racing Chevrolet. 26 of Jose Gonzalez just straight off of that contact 2 laps ago, goes down the back straightaway. Third in line, and that second lane again has dissipated as this field has really gotten spread out because of the checkup that occurred from that near big wreck down the back straightaway. CJ Lavere has lost touch with the lead draft. He's 4 seconds out of it. Frank Coons is in the secondary pack in the 8th spot. Him, Edison Lima Jr., Scott Simley, and Stephen Herring create a 4-car pack that are about 10 seconds back. And then we have 2 more cars that are 17 seconds back, being Brian Harvey and John Wilco, 12th and 13th. So that near big one there down the back straightaway that collects 2 cars is absolutely going to obliterate that pack that we had. And now everybody is real spread out. It's going to be interesting to see how some of those other guys played out that are no longer in this lead draft if this thing continues to go green.
And it has the look, Evan, of going green here. And that's not what you want to see if you're Mark Bratcher or Ryan Vaughn or Wilco Harvey or some of these other guys like Frank Coons, Stephen Herring, Scott Simley, and Edison Lima Jr., who are all 11 seconds or more off the pace. And CJ Lavere now 5.5 seconds. Now make that 6 seconds back and 7th off the pace. Only the top 6 remain in striking distance. That top 6 is the 14 of Josh Chaney, Wilson, Jose Gonzalez, Bobby T, Douglas Wyatt, and of course again LD Sarabia rounding out your top 6 here so far tonight. 30 laps have been complete. You're watching MW's Productions live coverage the ITSR Twisted Cup Series. We're going to take our second commercial break and bring you side-by-side coverage. You won't miss a thing. Why? Because we're MW and Michael Woolley is pushing those buttons.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
And we're back live here, still green flag racing. A little bit of side-by-side action here in the top 5 shuffling up here. The 5 car way down low below the do not pass zone there. The 11 car of LD Sarabia giving up that 5th spot to Wyatt. As now the leaders once again shuffle their stack of now Josh Chaney will get in line behind Justin Wilson. Those guys look really good together, tandem up there, Evan.
And this is a lot more comfortable for those guys now that they can almost break off into these groups. And the good news for them is that it is a 6-car lead draft. The only issue is last car in that row is starting to slip off. If it was the 6 cars all grouped together, everybody has a dancing partner. Top 2 grouped up. Got Josh Chaney following Justin Wilson, those 2 drafting up at the front of the field. But it's almost a 3-car tango from 3rd through 5th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the racetrack. Terrell, Gonzalez, and Wyatt all riding in line nearly bumper to bumper. And LD Sarabia is slowly starting to lose touch with them. And if he does, and they continue to go at that fast pace, as now the 26 of Jose Gonzalez has to step out for a moment, may allow the 11 of LD Sarabia to try to close back in. If he doesn't, that means one of those guys up front is going to be left hanging without a dancing partner, as the electrical issues, the connection problems with Douglas Wyatt's number 5 machine at least continue on my end.
Yeah, Douglas got to be real careful here to not push that electrical issue that he's having. I'm seeing the exact same issue in that machine. He is in 5th spot. He's made the pass on LD Sarabia, which kind of puts LD in a tough spot, as now LD is evidently has lost the draft. Now there's the top 5 here. This is interesting here, Evan. The top 5 are all separated. Okay, so and really at Daytona you have to tandem up, which means 2 drivers, 2 cars. So one driver left without a partner. But it looks like the top 5 here making the best of it as the 5 car of Douglas Wyatt steals the draft off of the Jose Gonzalez machine, and Bobby Terrell in that 3rd spot as they round out lap 37 here. Nearly halfway home.
And a little bit of discussion going on between Jose Gonzalez and Douglas Wyatt. Jose letting the 5 know that he's blinking and he's trying to get some distance, because if that 5 disappears, comes back into the sim inside of the bumper, the 26, that could cause some net code, turn them both into the wall. So Jose trying to create some space, and Douglas Wyatt just telling him that I can't control that I'm blinking. But obviously the 5 car still wants to be competitive and have a shot at racing this thing out to the end, but the blinking does continue for the 5, and it is official that LG Sarabia has lost that lead draft. The lead draft now falls to a 5-car group. However, they just passed a lap machine, the 28 of Ryan Vaughn, that could give LD Sarabia an opportunity to draft with the 28 of Vaughn if that 28 is running at a decent speed. Doesn't look like he's running too off pace, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 miles an hour off pace for what a car going around by itself should be on the racetrack, but nonetheless that could give LD Sarabia an opportunity to at least have somebody to draft with so he doesn't lose absolute touch. But he's already dropped nearly 2 seconds, and now scoring's good update. He lost another 7/10 that time by 2.4 seconds is the gap between LD Sarabia and 6th and the last car that is in that lead group of 5.
And Ryan Fong just went down 1 lap, so now make that 13 drivers on the lead lap with Brian Harvey and John Wilco in 13th and 12th spot, 36 seconds back. We know that it takes about 45 seconds to 46 seconds to take a lap here in the draft at Daytona. So these guys are very much in danger of going down a lap. And of course, both drivers coming off of some good runs here at the early on get-go, but coming to the struggle. The grind, as some people call it, the halfway century mark, the grind. Now it's downhill from here. It's like it's on. This is kind of when you start to realize, all right, this is who I'm going to work with until the end. And then, what do you say, 5, 4, 3 laps to go? Is that when you say, heck, for my partner?
I mean, you can't leave your partner out to dry because these guys are going to remember it. And one thing that you might see is when we had those 2 big lines, not really now that the top group's only a 5-car draft, but if we had 2 big lines, one guy gives you help on the outside lane, you jump down low, and then you just leave him out there stranded. He's not going to forget that. A little bit of a different scenario now because the field is so spread out, with the top 5 only being a 5-car draft, and that is the lead group. Interesting to see how the guys 7th through about position number 11 are going to deal with that. Those 4 or 5 cars or whatever that are down nearly 2 seconds on our lead draft. Again, they're actually hoping for a caution here because other than that, I don't see any realistic way that they're going to be able to catch back up to that lead draft. You mentioned that we are past the halfway point, so those guys really kind of banking on a yellow to give them a second shot at this thing.
42 laps will be complete this time by Josh Chaney. And Justin Wilson, pretty much a 1-2-man show, is now Bobby Terrell and Jose Gonzalez in the 5-car of Douglas Wyatt start to try to game plan their way to the front here. If these 3 guys can somehow tandem up with each other, I'm sure that the strength of 3 is a lot, there's a lot more horsepower there with 3 cars versus 2, but that could take some quality driving, and of course with the electrical issues that the 5-car of Douglas Wyatt is having, that could raise concern.
Yeah, and that 5, again, right now, he can easily get left out to dry here. Because he is blinking, he's not going to have that constant draft. He's going to have to work that speed back up almost every time he flashes out, or rather on his sim, every time everybody else disappears. When the 5 disappears from everybody else's screen, he doesn't see anybody else, which means he's not going to get the benefit of that draft. Leaders have to pull a switch there in 1 and 2. 14 of Josh Chaney yields high, 50 at Wilson around on the bottom, and then the 14 pulls in behind him. So 58 has done his pushing duties for a couple laps. They switch it out, and then they will probably do that same thing to put the 14 back up front here in a couple laps. So you really are treating it as a two-car tandem race, and the way that the aero package is and the way these Gen 6 cars are set up, you really don't see these Daytona races come down to this kind of strategy. But again, with the limited amount of cars that are in that lead draft, that 5 can easily get left if Jose Gonzalez starts pushing that 7 machine of Bobby Terrell. However, they are not hooked up. They're consistently leaving about half a car length between those two cars in positions 3rd and 4th. I think if Jose hooks up with Terrell here, they can leave that 5 machine of Douglas Wyatt in the dust and make this then a 4-car race.
That could definitely be how this thing shakes out if it were to get to go time and leave that 5 car out of the picture. And of course, back behind him is now, let's see, John Wilco, who is now a lap down, of course, with Brian Harvey going 1 lap down, as Brian Harvey looks to appear to come down pit road. But the only other drivers in any sort of distance of making something happen is the 19 machine of Edison Lemon Jr. and the 4-car of C.J. LeVere, as these guys try to figure out each other's line and run with each other to try to put down the quickest laps as possible. Scott Simley and Frank Coons are another tandemed up pack, 9th and 10th running here at Daytona on the lead lap. They're just shy of about a full turn away from those two drivers up ahead of them, CJ and Edison.
And again, a couple guys have lost laps in these last few laps. Again, John Wilco, currently the first car, 1 lap down in the number 62 machine. He sits in position number 12, so 11 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Vaughn, we mentioned him earlier. The 28 machine got lapped by the field not too long ago. He is also 1 lap down in 13th position. And then Brian Harvey, the last car, 1 lap down, and actually the 66 is currently in pit road, and don't see a lot of damage on that machine, but he is parked in the number 1 stall after starting on pole position. Sits there in that last pit box on pit road, not looking good. He is right now 1 lap down. He's going to lose a couple laps for sure if he stays in his box. So that would make 2 cars 1 lap down if Brian Harper were to lose a couple more. And then you got Mark Bratcher, Ben Burnett, J. Reno Watkins, Matt LaCrosse, and Rich Jett. All 5 of those drivers, positions 15th through 19th, no longer on the racing surface.
Laps continuing to wind down here at Daytona International Speedway before they take possibly some green flag pit stops here. We're going to take a commercial break, bring you back coverage, live coverage at least, of the America. Happy birthday, America. Race here at Daytona. Hippies Paint Shop and Quick Car, the sponsors for tonight, and as always, we thank them. And of course, MW Productions putting this event on every week, every Tuesday. We'll see you in just a few seconds. And we're back live here. And pit stops did happen. How about that? I figured that we were on the brink of possibly some green flag pit stops, Evan, and we sure have seen them. And now the lead has changed hands. Bobby Terrell is leading with the help of the 26 car of Jose Gonzalez, who's run second. So far, 11 drivers on the lead lap. Now Justin Wilson trying to find his drafting partner, Josh Cheney. Going to have to let out the throttle for him to catch up, as now the 11 car of Stephen Herring starts to play nose ball, and he's up there drafting with the 58 car now.
Yeah, so Bobby Terrell is now in the number 1 position. He has yet to make his stop, and his help is the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. So who gets lost in all of this? The 5 of Douglas Wyatt. He's hanging on to the tandem of the 58 and the 14, 50 to Justin Wilson and the 14 to Josh Cheney, completing their pit stops as they entered together from the top 2 positions. They dragged out of back straightaway. The 5 is hanging on pretty good, considering the 58 and the 14 are pushing over that 5 machine. Could get left stranded. He kind of tagged along. He's like the third wheel in this. The 58-14 planned to pit together. The 5 had to stick with him. He followed him down, and he's really just hanging on to that draft as he tries to not fall out of this thing. So now all eyes go up to the lead. Obviously, everybody, once they make these pit stops here, will be able to make it to the end of this race. So all questions now is just when will Bobby Terrell and Jose Gonzalez make those left-hand turns and get down to pit road. And by the way, those pit stops for the 58 of Wilson and the 14 of Cheney were very, very good. They were very aggressive, and the 58 actually nearly spun that thing out. That's Justin Wilson. Nearly lost it coming on the pit road, and I think he got it down below 55 miles an hour right at the cone, so no time lost for those two on their stop.
Look at that. These 3 drivers up here having the 58 car in 4th spot, 5th spot car Josh Cheney, and 6th spot Douglas Wyatt, 3-car tandem. Now, if Cheney and Wilson were to drag their feet here, they could actually slow themselves down, as now the leaders are pitting, Jose Gonzalez and Bobby Terrell down pit road, and Bobby, the first to come to his stop as these guys pit. But looking at this 3-car tandem, how long, Evan, do you think that the 14 and the 58 drag the throttle to keep that 5-car within drafting distance?
Well, they're gonna, if they can leave him, I'm sure that they would try. Bobby Terrell has now left pit road along with the 26, so we're going to see how this cycles through. Let's see, it looks like the 58 and the 14 are planning to actually switch here in 1 and 2, so you see the 5 machine is trailing the 14, and because the 5's down there, expect the 14 of Josh Cheney to come up high behind Wilson. No, Wilson is actually going to help up with the 5 machine. So they have now taken that 5 kind of under their wings, put him in the middle of those 2 now. So it is a 3-car tandem. However, Bobby Terrell and Jose Gonzalez do have the lead. They're already off coming out of turn number 4. Right now, that 7 and 26 roll down the hill, while that next 3-car tandem of Wilson, Cheney, and Wyatt are in the middle of the corner. So this time by the start-finish line, we will see the gap between those top 2 groups now. But Bobby Terrell, Jose Gonzalez, solid on the pit stop. At a gap for them back to second is going to be about 3.5 seconds.
Let's see here. Currently, 10 drivers lead lap here out of 19. As you got to wonder, Evan, if caution could come out. Obviously, it would tighten this field of at least 10 on the lead lap back up to within striking distance and side-by-side racing. But if this continues without a green flag, we could see a 3-way battle versus a 2-car battle where Gonzalez and Bobby Terrell continue to run. And I really believe that the 3-car tandem hookup here is slowing these guys down, and I think that they've had enough, and they may try to break this 2-car tandem out of this 3-car field here.
And it's now the 5 of Douglas Wyatt who's actually at the front of that second 3-car tandem. They have picked up about 0.3 of a second, and Josh Cheney is they're communicating. The 58 of Justin Wilson is trying to let the 14 know he's not trying to leave him out to dry. So you see that at the same time as these guys are trying to make up some ground, and wow, they just knocked off another half second on Jose Gonzalez and Bobby Terrell at the front of the field. They are struggling to keep that third car in line with them and kind of have to let off that gas a little bit to allow them to do so. So that may hinder their progress just a little bit. But it hasn't shown so far. They've nearly made up a second since they got back on track on those guys up front.
Oh, they don't stand a chance. Bobby Terrell and Jose Gonzalez doesn't stand a chance. I'm looking at the miles per hour. They were just doing 198 down the backstretch. These guys were doing over 200 miles an hour. That's the 5 car, 58 car, and the 14 of Cheney. The 3 car tandem, Evan, is working.
And they got to be careful. Yeah, I mean, it's close. I mean, you can easily get that 2 car hookup and take off. Not as much as in the COTs where, you get 2 cars and you totally check out. But they have to, methodically pick through this. See, the 5 has to go high, but now he has to drop back behind 2 cars. So they have closed it into 1.6 seconds. I think they are getting a little bit of a drafting ability. Jose Gonzalez and Bobby Terrell have 2 more guys trailing them. John Wilco is the 3rd car in line with that group, and the 48 of Frank Coons is the 4th car. So that lead group is 4 cars. The top 2 of them are actually the top 2 at the racetrack. 3rd and 4th in line are actually lap machines. So it'll be interesting to see how 3rd through 5th, Wyatt, Wilson, and Cheney would be able to negotiate those 2 lap cars if they catch these guys up front.
Wow, it's going to be interesting to watch, and I think we're going to be able to witness that as now these guys hitting 203 miles an hour going into turn 1 here. That's Wilson in the 14 car and Douglas Wyatt. So obviously faster. John Wilco pushing the 7 car of Bobby Terrell. Now Wilco is 1 lap or 2 laps down, and the 48 car of Frank Coons is 1 lap down. So Frank is trying to fight for his life to get back on the lead lap, but he would be the first one to receive the lucky dog, so he doesn't have to fight too hard. As, guess what? The 3 car tandem has caught the top 2 guys.
And now the 58 of Justin Wilson looks to the outside of the 48, who gets a little bit squirrely there down on the inside lane. 48 lap machine of Frank Coons, and now the 62 is left all by himself. That's John Wilco 2 laps down. Here comes Justin Wilson. Forget about catching them. With the help from the 14 of Josh Cheney, here they go for the lead down into turn number 3 and 4. Can they both clear him? They do. Do they get down to the bottom lane in time? Yes, they do. The 5 is going to get left out to dry. I believe the 14 of Josh Cheney is going to pull into line. No, he wants to stay out and give that 5 a little bit of a draft. He helps Douglas Wyatt out. Wyatt does not react quick enough when that lane opened on the inside. And now things single file out with Justin Wilson back to the point and Douglas Wyatt, the odd man out on that outside lane.
And in Justin Wilson and the 14 car of Josh Cheney, in the words of the Terminator, "Alla la vista, baby."
You can't forget that last part.
Yeah, baby. Look at this. The 14 car now looking for the lead. How about that? Getting pushed by the 5 car of Douglas Wyatt, forcing Jose Gonzalez to work with Justin Wilson. Meanwhile, Bobby Terrell is the milk without the cereal, which means he's without a partner.
And again, they still have those lap cars to try to negotiate. That 7 of Terrell is the 4th car on the inside lane because the 14 of Josh Cheney has pulled back down. He's trying to kind of satisfy both lanes, and now the 58 of Wilson's going to get around about the bottom because the 14 of Cheney pulls up to get with the 5 of Douglas Wyatt on that outside lane. 2 sets of 2, side by side down the back straightaway, down into turn number 3. Advantage is to Cheney on the outside lane, but he is constantly trying to not leave that 5 car hanging. He could easily just stay in front of the 58 of Wilson, and that 5 would have dropped back well behind the lap machine, the 62, 4th car in line on that inside. But Josh Cheney is trying to help out Douglas Wyatt. It appears that those connection problems have settled down for the Fearless Racing Ford number 5 of Hippie Doug Douglas Wyatt. So 14 and 5 trying to make it work on the outside lane. 58, 26, and 7. The first 3 on that inside row, but it was Justin Wilson with the advantage that time by the start finish line.
So we got a nice little race shaping up here with this time by 10 laps to go at Daytona International Speedway. Justin Wilson leading the charge. The top 5 right here within straight snake striking distance. Who's going to be the rattlesnake? Who's going to be the mouse? Here we go, 10 fingers in the air. 10 fingers in the air by the flagman. That time by the top 5 have now basically got themselves in a spot where they're going for the checkered flag. John Wilco, 12 to go. I believe my partner's 2 laps down. Evan Pasoko is 2 laps down here tonight in the broadcast, coming around to complete lap 65 of 74. 9 laps to go now. 9 fingers. Oh, back on the lead lap now, Evan.
Yes, we are. We were riding on board, and I had the telemetry of the 62 of Wilco pulled up, so I'm like, 10 to go. We're good now. Leaders are on 66, if anyone's wondering.
There you go. Now, you mentioned Wilco. Look at this. He makes for an interesting talk and discussion here. There's now 6 drivers up here. Wilco doesn't appear to be, damaged at all. Or at least if he's damaged, he's able to keep up, for the most part, with race speed. And he's going to have to help that 7 car, I think.
And again, those guys that have lost this lead draft and that we talked about them earlier, they're out of this game. There's only about 4 of them left on the lead lap. 2 of them 29 seconds back, the other 2 38 back. The guys that are 29 seconds back, 6th and 7th, CJ LeVere, LD Sarabia, and the 2 to the 38 seconds back, Edison Lima Jr., Scott Simley, positions 8th and 9th. They're out of this. Again, a caution could still fly, but once we get to about lap 70, a caution would most likely end this race with no overtime, no green-white checkers. So that's also something to keep in mind here at Daytona, is cautions can very easily bring out the end of this race. So you don't really want to ride around and try to wait for that 2 to go. Oh, now the 5 turns the 6, the 14 around. The leaders pile them in on the front straightaway.
Ooh.
Just like that, I jinxed it. And the 5 of Douglas Wyatt takes a look to the inside, hooks the 58 of Justin Wilson into the 14 of Josh Cheney. They scatter on the front straightaway. The 48 plows into the 14 of
Jose
Cheney.
Gonzalez is going to win this race.
And a big mess on the front straightaway. Bobby Terrell makes it through, but he has front end damage. And this whole race has just changed because LD Sarabia, CJ LeVere, Edison Lima Jr., and Scott Simley get a second shot at this one.
Oh, buddy. Man, looking back at this wreck here, it looked like Douglas was, oh man, oh man. I mean, I'm speechless. Just when you think, Let's just hope John Wilco's okay. He took a heavy ride down on the front stretch there on his roof.
These guys can crank up that force feedback there and might break a nail, so we gotta hope that they are good to go. But again, it just like that, it just shows you, and I just mentioned the possibility that we talked about it for 20 laps. Are these guys gonna get a shot at it? And just when we pretty much called it that, they weren't, and these guys got about 3 more laps till a caution would end it. Caution flies just seconds after that, and now that sets us up for basically a crapshoot here at the end, where these guys, no one's gonna lift off of that pedal there, and it's just gonna get pretty wild here. It's gonna be like 4 laps or so. Caution will end it once we go back green, so the final restart is gonna be pretty chaotic, and those guys that bought their time and they were smart are now out of this thing.
Oh gosh, the 7 car of Bobby Terrell just sideswiped Jose Gonzalez, the leader. He got him. Bobby Terrell sideswipes Jose Gonzalez as they're coming around for the cool down lap. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he got him.
And it looks like the net code is going to help them, because it appeared that that 7 was his right side was inside of that left rear. Jose Gonzalez could have easily been some pretty big contact, but it looks like he might have phased through him a little bit and saved that 26. Kind of a strange move, and he didn't make an erratic move at the last second to avoid it, but he wasn't really pointed towards the 26, so not sure what the issue is with that. However, as they ride in line right now, Jose Gonzalez is in first, and the car behind him is a lap machine. So C.J. Levere going to be scored in the number 2 spot.
You know, and looking on my monitor, you know, I'm trying to look through my binoculars right here to try to get a good look at that car, but it appears to have, Jose Gonzalez's car appears to have left rear damage, and it looks substantial. Now, whether or not these are prescription binoculars, but it just looks like the left rear is damaged.
And I think that, and he may have had some damage from before also. I know that Jose had a couple close calls. Remember that incident on the back straightaway? He was able to survive it, but did get that left side banged up from that also.
I guess we will see on the restart. C.J. Levere is going to move up into the 2nd spot, as the lights are still on the pace car, Evan, and this is going to be close. It may be a green-white checker, or it may be green-white and 2 to go, or excuse me, green, 2 to go, and then white.
Yeah, lights still on the pace car as Jose Gonzalez sits on lap 70. So this time by, as they go down the back straightaway, next time by the stripe, if the lights would go off, it would set up a 3-lap shootout. They would take the green on lap 72. They'd have 72, 73, and 74, assuming a caution does not fly to race it out. So if the lights do go off, it'll be green, green, white, and then the checker. A 3-lap shootout to the finish. If we go around one more time, it will be a green, white checker. For all intents and purposes, not bonus time, so just a 2-lap shootout, but it would be that quick shot at this win. And I don't know how many cars are left in this thing that don't have damage that are going to be able to compete for this one.
I know it. It doesn't look like too many people will. Edison Lemon Jr. may be okay, Evan, and Ryan Vaughn has too much damage, I believe. But Edison Lemon Jr., if he works with C.J. Levere, I mean, Jose may be out of this thing. It just really is going to depend on how bad these guys want it. Scott Simley in 6th spot, his car looks pretty good, except for maybe a little bit of dirt on the front end of that car.
And the lights this time have been extinguished, so it will be 3 laps, assuming that they don't pile them in here, to race this thing out for the win. Jose Gonzalez in the number 1 position, entering tonight as the championship leader, only driver with multiple wins. He has 2 wins on this 2nd season of the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights. Other drivers with wins: Bobby Terrell with 1, Justin Wilson with 1, and John Higman Jr. with 1 as well. So Jose fighting here for a 3rd win at a 6th. So that would be a 50% success rate, putting that 26 in his victory lane since the 2nd season started, this being race 6 on that season number 2 in the 2014 campaign. So C.J. Levere in 2nd, still looking for 1. So Jose can really, put an exclamation point on how his season has started, and, even add a couple more points on those guys behind him.
Here we go. Pace car coming down the backstretch. About a mile away before we go back green. They'll cross over and complete lap 71, so we'll have 3 laps to go, it seems. It's really going to depend on who works with who here, I believe. As I believe the top 4 drivers are the only 4 really that are going to be able to keep up to pace. But we'll see here as the pace car will dip down for the final time tonight. This will be it. No more cautions. No more restarts. This is the last one. The next flag that will be waved will be the green one, then the white, and then the checkered. Here we go.
Green flag is in the air. Jose Gonzalez tries to send it off, and he has help from the 4 of CJ LeVere. 3 laps to go at the start-finish line as they open up a gap from the 19 machine of Edison Lima Jr., who has snuck into second place. He wants help from the 68 of Scott Simley. They can't get hooked up, and this could turn into a 2-car race up front.
Yeah, looks like the 68 car a little bit slower than I anticipated. So he is not going to be able to touch Edison Lima Jr., and it will be a 2-car battle, and it looks like CJ is going to try to get this win. He's looking. Right now just pushing Gonzalez. Gonzalez looks a little slow there.
Yeah, Jose, again, he is working some damage, and they're definitely not going top speed. Only 198 for Jose into the corner. We've seen guys get up to 205 with a strong draft in tonight's race. So 26 definitely feeling those damage to his race car. The 4 of CJ LeVere could be in the perfect spot to win this, because if that's a battered 26, the 4 should have no trouble chugging by on the outside of that final corner. All that 4 machine wants to see right now is the white flag. Down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 for the second to last time. This time by a white flag flies, and then it is a race. And I think this could be CJ LeVere's one to win it.
We're about to find out. White flag in the air. Jose Gonzalez with a backdoor load of laundry from the 4 car of CJ LeVere. Where will he make his strike? He doesn't have to worry about anyone catching him, as he looks like he's kind of letting off here. Looks like he's setting him up.
And you can expect the 4 machine to do that. Again, he, without a doubt, I would say is in the best spot, because that 26 is not in perfect condition. So let's look for that move from the 4 of CJ LeVere, as he may try to step out to the outside lane to walk away in victory lane in his number 4 Ford Fusion, through 3 and out of 4 for the final time.
Here comes CJ LeVere off of turn 4 for the final time. He's not going to be able to get around him. It looks like he's going to try to go to the bottom now. Jose Gonzalez will lose.
Oh!
No!
And CJ gets it on the bottom by 17
He did.
1,000ths.
Holy moly!
And that looks like Jose gave that to him, because it looked like CJ was going to push him all the way to the checkered flag, and Jose just kind of eased up the racetrack and opened that up. And definitely not a defensive move to give the guy with the stronger car the inside lane. Interesting finish, but CJ is going to walk away with the win. But that definitely looked like that 26 gave that one to the 4 there at the end.
He will walk away with a win, and Jose Gonzalez will finish second in a very, very close race. And how about this? Edison Lima Jr. for the first time going to finish 3rd here in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series. So that's your top 3. Scott Simley would finish 4th. Herring would finish 5th, and the only other driver to finish on the lead lap would be Justin Wilson, 31 seconds back. But he did it. He was on the lead lap in 6th. And the race has come to an end. And next we'll have the 3 drivers, hopefully, for interview when we return from the commercial break.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selection of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Central Ford.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your new or pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live here at Daytona International Speedway, where we've just had one exciting finish. Now, I'm going to run you back through the third spot guy, Edison Lemon Jr. Edison, how about that, man? Started 14th tonight, not the quickest at Daytona, but managed to finish in the top three. Tell us about your night.
Well, it started out rough, but ended up in third, which was a great run, and had a lot of help getting there. So, got to thank the guys that were helping me out, including CJ, and that's how I was able to get up there.
Absolutely, and of course, Edison, it's always good to have a driver who hasn't ran all the races so far in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series to get a taste of what it feels like to finish in the top three. And of course, tonight, it being your first top five, you've already had one top 10. A successful run here so far with just 3 races in to your name in the season 2. So congratulations once again. And of course, the big wreck. Did you have any thoughts on that big wreck at the end, towards the end there?
I didn't even get a chance to see it, but I'm glad I was nowhere near it.
I'll tell you what, it could be considered the big one, although we saw an earlier big one earlier on in the race. But that one at the end, man, it just seemed like everybody got a clip of a quarter panel. And of course, you didn't have to witness that, of course. And again, thank you for the time, Edison. Anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
ITSR and the whole gang and my crew.
There you have it, folks. The number 19 machine, Ed Lemon Jr., Mr. Edison, going to take home third tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Now moving up the leaderboard, the 26 car of Jose Gonzalez. Jose, luck on your side tonight at Daytona as the last caution there brought out the big one.
Yeah. I was trying to make a run by myself on the outside there, so I was pinching a lot, and or I guess that was the one before the last caution. That's the last caution was with Hippie and Josh Cheney, and they were on the outside, and I was looking at Hippie, and I was figuring, you know, I can get together with him, and just as soon as I'm talking on the radio about it and getting things sorted, you know, they got together, and I was really lucky. I saw it. It was like I saw it on slow-mo, and I said, "Oh, they're gonna wreck," and I just went to the grass. Screw it, and you know, I was lucky enough to get it together there in the grass.
I wouldn't say lady luck, but it could be the meatball luck there, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Earlier, I made a point. You know, I had said somebody was the hot dog between the buns, and then I saw you go 3 wide, and I said, "There comes the meatball between the spaghetti." But moving on to the Fisher Cats baseball, 1:30 at Loudon next Tuesday night on the ITSR Twisted Cup Series Season 2. How does Loudon, New Hampshire favor into the Jose Gonzalez crew?
That's one of the tracks nobody likes, but I do. I like the flat tracks and like the short tracks, Martinsville and New Hampshire. It's a track that demands a little patience, you know, when you get on the throttle, and usually those other tracks I do well at. So yeah, I'm glad that we got New Hampshire next week.
And of course, last but not least, Jose, anyone you'd like to thank for tonight's event?
Yeah, Meatball Company and Hippie's Paint Shop, and you guys up in the studio. You guys do a great job. Whether it's 2 of you or 1 of you, you do a really good job. So, you know, we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jose. And there you have it, folks. The man who is the most dominant so far in Season 2 in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series, Mr. Consistency and Mr. Consecutive, Jose Gonzalez, picking up 3 wins just out of 6 races. So half the wins tallying up in his corner. And, of course, all but 1 race outside the top 5. All races, he has finished in the top 10. So if you're going to look at someone to model after, you can look at me. Now moving up to Evan Pasoko, who's standing by with the number 4 machine, C.J. Lovair.
And he's finally joined us. He's been doing laps backwards on the track, doing some burnouts, celebrating. But C.J. Lovair does get to victory lane here this evening for his second top 5 on Season 2. First win, C.J. First and foremost, you were out of this thing. And then a caution flies, and we knew that 26 had a little bit of damage up front, and I felt that you might have been in a catbird seat there coming on to that final lap. I know you wanted to see the white. You were hoping for not a caution, and walk us through that finish.
It was a heck of a finish. We weren't in the race. We had to check up and miss a wreck, and we lost the draft, and kind of just rode around and picked up partners and pushed a couple guys and did a couple things, and the caution came out, and all of a sudden we're in second. And we got a good teammate there. I got to thank the Balls car for helping this Wiener Dog race car get in victory lane tonight, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have made it.
And definitely, and you mentioned that you dropped back there through the pack. How did that happen there in the middle of the portion of the race?
A couple guys got a little tangled up there, and I had to, you know, really check up hard to avoid the wreck, and the caution didn't come out. They were able to get back to pit road without getting a tow.
It's an uphill battle from here. Again, you enter this evening's race 43 points back into championship standings as we move forward. There is 6 races remain, so this is the halfway point in season number 2. Next week we go to Loudon, New Hampshire, to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 130 laps. How confident are you of putting that 4 car back up front next week?
We got a little surprise next week. We're getting a brand new rig. I think we're going to be blazing fast, so you watch out for that number 4 car.
10-4 to that. Sponsors, shout-outs, who makes it happen for you and the crew?
I got to thank my ITSR board members. They do a hell of a job running ITSR. I got to thank MW Production, you guys up in the booth. I got to thank Hippie's Paint Shop for painting me these wonderful, beautiful cars I get. I got to thank everybody. There's a lot of guys, all my drivers and all you guys listening. I appreciate everybody and all support ITSR.
And definitely a 10-4. CJ LaFair picks up race win number 1 on this second season for the 2014 ITSR campaign. Victorious tonight. CJ, thanks for talking with us, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
That's it down here from Victory Lane, Keaton.
And what a night we had tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Again, tonight was in honor of Happy Birthday America, presented by Hippie's Paint Shop and Quick Car. It was 74 laps and 74 laps of great racing here in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series. Next week, we move to Loudon, New Hampshire, a little shorter racetrack. Hopefully, we'll see some beating and banging. We'll see you next Tuesday night. For me, Michael Keaton, Evan Pasoko, and Michael Woolley down in the production studio. Peace.
For sure.